Aloha, everybody. This is Dr. BethAnne K.W, and welcome to your Mid-Month Magic, where we check in on what the Akashic Records had to say about the month, and then talk about how is that showing up for us as we approach the middle of the month. The records called the month of June of 2023 to turn the lights on, which I thought was a beautiful theme for the month. And the best way to understand the collective message for any month is to interpret it within the context of the greater message. So the records have been telling us a story about 2023 that began in the new year. And of course, this story was already going and it built on what they said about 2022, which was the year of building a bridge that traveled us from where we were to where we were going to be as we move through 2023. And the records called this year the evolution of the light, which is a very profound statement. And I've been staying very open and curious as to how that shows up. So June of this year is the first time that they've referenced the word light again within the theme. And the theme is to turn the lights on. So I feel like this ties in really beautifully with the collective message and this idea that as the year progresses, the light is evolving. And my sense of that is happening in more of an energetic, cosmic kind of way that has to do with bigger energies and cosmic energies and earth energies. And then it's also happening to us, which is why these messages can feel so personal and so relevant and help us figure out, what am I doing on the path at this time? And the record said that in June, it might feel like we had stepped out of a dark cave or a dark room, and you step into the sunlight, or you turn the lights on. If you've ever done this when you've been asleep and somebody turns the lights on you, and you have that initial gut reaction where it's like it's so bright, it almost feels blinding. And so there was this sense that the month would begin with perhaps a sense of feeling jarred, or a sense of being almost startled by the intensity of the energy, and that we would have an adjustment period as the month progressed. And I'm so glad the records gave us this guidance, because for myself personally, when I heard that theme, I got really excited. And I thought, oh, May was a huge month of shifts for a lot of people. And it was really heavy. The records called it the month of personal power in earth movement. And almost every light worker I've talked to had big things going down. It was the end of eclipse season, like so much stuff was happening. And so May was a difficult month for some individuals, and the promise of June feeling lighter and brighter, I thought, sounds good to me. So this idea of feeling jarred at the beginning of the month might come as a little bit of a shock to our system if we were expecting a little bit more ease. It is coming towards the second half of the month, don't worry. But we might start the first few weeks with feeling jarred, feeling startled, and adjusting to this new sense of seeing more clearly. And ultimately, that's the idea for each of us for the month of June, that there are things in our life that we are seeing through a more clear lens than we've ever been able to look at them before. We are looking at our path, our journey, our understanding of ourselves as if we took a window that we'd been looking through, and you wiped off all the film and all the dust, and it's really clear now. Or maybe you just took the window out, and so you're actually looking with your naked gaze at what's in front of you without any impediment. And there would be an adjustment period to that. If you turn the lights on in a room that was previously dark and you start to adjust, you might see where dust has collected in a corner, or something needs to be recalibrated and straightened up over there. So that is a metaphor for what some of us might have been experiencing. And the first part of June felt a little bit like we were just getting down to business and cleaning house. And seeing, now that I'm looking at things with this clear lens, and I'm seeing things as they are and not necessarily how I thought they would be, what does that mean for my path forward? The record's guidance for this month was to just focus on the next step in front of you. They said June might June feels simultaneously like a month where there are bigger visions going on, and this upcoming new moon in Gemini next week feels very epiphany like to me, and like some real clear seeing might come through. It's Gemini season, and Gemini is air, it's thoughts. So we might find that a lot of revelatory information and insight happens. At the same time, my sense is now might not be the time to do everything all at once. It feels more like the time to just focus on what's right in front of me. We're not looking over here at somebody else's path. We're not being distracted by what's going on over here on somebody else's path. The guidance is stay in your lane, focus on the next step, and just do the things that you know that you need to do. And as we're moving into the second half of the month, I do feel a sense of adjustment. I opened the records right before I hopped on to make this video to ask, how is this going to show up for the second half of the month? And the record said it will feel like the fog has lifted and like the adjustment period has happened. So if you have experienced any kind of mental confusion, maybe you've had some brain fog, maybe things have felt a little fuzzy, or you are kind of still getting your footing, there is a little bit more of a sense of surety coming, there's a sense of clarity coming, and for now, just do the things that you know to do and focus on the next step in front of you. So that was the main message for the month of June, and I will wrap this around to how the records ended the monthly message, and that was this reminder that we are connected to this greater web of light. And they use that term this month. I feel like something might happen where we have more of a conscious awareness of being connected to each other. Whether or not we ever meet in real life, there are many individuals down here who are living open-hearted. They identify as the light workers, the empaths, the heart-based rebels who are here to hold space for the light, and who care about walking the spiritual path on their human journey and bringing those principles into their day-to-day life. And so there was this sense of interconnection that I felt coming through in June, which feels profoundly beautiful. And it's a reminder that if you feel alone or you feel like nobody else is going through it, there are so many going through it. Whether or not we're in the same geographic location, we can have that sense of interconnection and know that we are part of a greater web of light and our light matters. All right, that was June's message from the Akashic Records. I will be back here in July for more mid-month magic and whatever July has in store for us according to the records. In the meantime, you can find me on my website, drbethanne.com. I do a monthly Akashic Magic newsletter. It is free. That's where the collective message is to be found at the beginning of the month, and you can find me weekly on my podcast, Your Heart Magic, and all of the links to all the things will be down in my bio write-up. With that, have an amazing rest of the month, and be well, be love, be you, and be magic.